Hello, my name is Mars, and welcome back to the Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood. Alright, Patrice, we took a little break. Now we're going to start designing our political campaign. How are we going to do this? I hope it involves cards and not just dialogue options. Ready to define our program? Yes, let's do this. Alright. We'll go over every point, assess our options, make some choices, and when we have a first draft, we can review any aspect to iron out the program. It's okay to borrow some ideas that you may fancy from your rivals, but try to make a program that's unique enough to be your own. Okay. First point, judgment. Right now, this is where our rivals stand. Jasmine wants to form a quorum of the eldest. Dahlia wants to introduce judgment by referendum. Capresa wants to keep Adon as rooting judgment. What type of judgment do you prefer? Runic judgment is obviously out of the question. So is relying on the elders. That's just a watered down version of Adana speaking to the gods. So I don't want to go with either of these. I like the idea of referendum, but here's the thing. Judgment is not just, like, what do you call it? It's not just, like, passing down judgment on witches who have done wrong. It's the executive branch, so I feel like I want something a little stronger than just, oh, everyone works together to do this. But I'll ponder it. Isn't Dahlia's idea of dividing all the power among members via referendum a beautiful idea? It is beautiful indeed. It would be something far-fetched for a bigger society, but provided the coven stays within the hundreds, it's feasible. That's true. It'd still be quite cumbersome, and we need to keep in mind that the most popular option isn't always what's truly best. But it would always keep the majority satisfied. Will this make us weaker but happier? I can't tell. It's never been done before in a coven that I know of. Okay, so let's see what new options we can come up with. Maybe there's another option to manage the coven? Something fair but effective. What do you have in mind? To have a leadership that decides on everything without the community's input is problematic. But leaving all executive control in the hands of everyone will produce erratic results. That is true. I'm thinking of establishing some sort of ministries to compartmentalize power. Appoint experts in every matter to deal with law, exploration, magic development, resource management, culture, anything really. Set up as many ministries as necessary. Now that, I worry, might have the opposite problem as the referendum. The referendum would only work because we're small, but for ministries, I feel like we need a much larger group. Because you need to pull the right people, and if we have too few people in our coven, it might be hard to find the right people. All ministers will work along the leader, but they would have the last word on their respective competences, since they would be the ideal person to make informed decisions about each issue. And how will these ministers be appointed? Do these positions rotate? What happens if someone more competent shows up? Is the minister replaced? I mean, it's really interesting on paper, and it'll be quite effective to have dedicated witches in every important matter. But this will probably breed many power struggles within the coven, fighting for these positions or trying to earn the favor of certain ministers. I mean, power struggles kind of goes with what Fortuna wants, right? I see. Not that the other options don't have downsides, I'm just pointing out what could go wrong with this idea. Wow, right away, I've had a few days to think about this. This game is going real heavy with the political stuff, and not just in the sense that gay people exist, therefore it's making a political statement. No, it's really getting in the weeds of the actual mechanics of the political system, which honestly is a little much for me, but I really respect how nuanced this discussion is. I feel like obviously the developers of this game have opinions, and a leaning of where they think the best option would be. And I feel like nobody who developed this game or plays it is going to want to go with, oh, Kunessa, you know? No one's going to want to go with, like, Elder Rule. But at the same time, the game understands why some people would, in fact, want that. It shows the upsides and downsides to everything, and it's not quite what I was expecting out of this game, but I kind of like it, and I kind of don't, but mostly I like it. Alright. I think it is still worth giving it a shot if you like it. If you're at the helm, I'm sure you'll run a tight ship and put together an excellent team. I'll help you. Yeah, avoiding corruption in this scenario relies on having a capable leader. You are a capable leader. I think you're ready to deal with any kind of judgment system you decide to go with, so having said that, what type of judgment do you prefer? Let's go with the ministry system. I like the idea of Dahlia's thing, but more out of anything that Dahlia comes up with, I think that's the least likely to work. So let's go with the ministry system. Gotcha. Now to law enforcement. These are the stances of our competitors. Jasmine wants to set up a system of warnings leading to expulsion. Dahlia advocates for amicable agreements supported by the arbitrage office. Cupreso wants to keep exile as punishment. What type of law enforcement do you prefer? Fuck exile. That's not even an option. Let's say that. Fuck exile. Yeah. What type of law enforcement do you prefer? I don't think that Jasmine's idea is bad. Jasmine's solution of letting witches accumulate strikes, and in the event they fail to behave, expelling them from the coven seems quite humane. It's not a bad idea. It doesn't rob anyone of their freedom, and the ultimate punishment is like ultimate freedom, actually. If you don't fit in here, just find a coven to match your philosophy, or stay independent. On the other hand, it's exploitable. Witches will be able to cross the line several times without any consequences before they gather too many strikes. And then they'll be trapped into behaving ideally or losing membership. In any case, it's not like they can go and kill another witch. The magical pact stands above our warning system. The warnings allow for mischief, but I guess it's tolerable. Not all witches are going to be ill-willed. Alright, let's think about amicable resolution 2. Dahlia's idea about believing in amicable resolution may seem naive, but what is there to police, really, if we already have the arbitrage office? It's ideal and quite beautiful to trust in our sister's ability to coexist. But the arbitrage office only really covers the magical pact. Shouldn't we have a way to mediate more mundane conflicts within the coven? The arbitrage office won't interfere in issues like who has rights over a newly discovered domain, or who should be responsible for a common project gone wrong. What do we do in those cases? I guess that Dahlia would leave that in the hands of a referendum. Okay, so that's kind of out of the question for us. We could do the same, but with a proper organism, a minister of justice that deals with unresolvable conflicts on a case-by-case basis. This is getting closer and closer to mortal society, but sure, that was supposed to work for millennia on Earth. Anyway. And let's see what our new option is. I'm leaning towards Jasmine's here, honestly. I have troubled feelings towards punishment as a method of enforcing the law. It keeps law and order through fear. But we can't expect everyone to behave. Isn't there a way to make punishment constructive? Constructive how? Send bad witches to detention to do some magical studies? Ha, not that, but hey, that may be an idea. What about community service? Elaborate. Instead of expelling members, or God forbid, sending them to exile, we could set up a system of assigning hours of community service depending on the severity of the infraction. Tending other witches' gardens, harvesting magic for the coven, helping the explorers, whatever is needed, really. We could pull that off, yeah. I don't know if it'll look childish or weak in the eyes of some witches, but it'll benefit the community in the long run, definitely. Alright. I'm thinking either community service or warnings and expulsion. That's a hard one. Like, the question comes down to which punishment works better, expulsion or community service? Like Patrice's point, expulsion allows witches who don't fit in to find the freedom to go somewhere that better fits their values. Community service would lead to witches helping each other, but I don't know. I'll throw Jasmine a bone and go with warnings and expulsion. Let's go with the warnings and expulsion system. Understood. Next is forbidden arts. These are the stances of our competitors. Jasmine and Caprice want to continue banning whatever they deem dangerous. I definitely don't want to do that. Dahlia wants to give free access to any kind of magic, but to enforce education so we all know what we're dealing with. How do you want to go about dealing with forbidden arts? Well, the best analog here is, like, in, like, the real world is, like, I don't know, drugs and stuff. And obviously, banning drugs doesn't work. Like, people need to be educated about the problems. Like, I don't know. I guess no, you know what? Selling and making hardcore drugs like meth and stuff, that should be illegal. Buying and using it, no. That you need rehabilitation for, not punishment. So, either way, not banning. Free access and education. It's a waste that our coven can't benefit from some of the most powerful arts, even if they're dangerous. Maybe we shouldn't grant access instantly, but we could open them up gradually as we educate our members on the implications and responsibilities of each spell. It's a bit risky, but it'll make us way stronger in the long run. Maybe. I'm not well versed on this topic, so I'll trust your judgment. And let's see what the other option would be. There must be some middle ground between banning and free access. Some summonings or spells can save lives. They can even protect us from major evils. There's much to achieve with the careful application of some of the forbidden arts, so what about extending permits? Make it so a witch can apply to have access to certain spells or rituals, and if the coven deems the applicant's purpose and aptitude appropriate, allow them to make use of them. That is an interesting compromise. You know more about forbidden arts than I do, so I'll go with whatever you think is best. I mean, as long as education goes along with it. Education is the most important part, but I agree that free access might be a little risky. So how about the permit system? Let's go with the permit system. Wonderful. Now on to mortal affairs. These are the stances of our competitors. Jasmine says we should guide them, take care of them. Dahlia proposes cutting all ties. She believes that we shouldn't abuse our privilege over them and just let them be. Capresa wants to continue exploiting them for our benefit. What's your stance on mortal affairs? This one I'm a little iffy on. So far, the Coven has been exploiting mortals under Aidana's command. Like, I like the idea of guiding mortals, but again, it was brought up in the last episode, who decides what kind of guidance they need? I mean, we can't tell them about our existence, can we? Like, they can't tell us what their needs are, so who decides? Maybe it's time we repay the service mortal societies have been inadvertently offering us. That's a good angle, although taking care of them entails many responsibilities, as well as needing time and resources. We'll be giving up some of our coven's momentum to charity. Not that that's necessarily bad, but it's something to bear in mind if we choose this option. I see. Not exploitation. What would cutting all ties look like? To be honest, I don't care much about mortals or Earth or whatever other society in this universe. I don't know. I don't like this one so much. I think that inter-community communication is important. Even when we're dealing like different species, basically. Different power levels of human, because witches are still human to a certain extent, aren't they? I think that contact should be allowed. And if you think about it, I believe most people will prefer not to have witches meddling with their lives. I also think about Louise, like, what if someone falls in love with a mortal, you know? Like, no, I'm never in favor of segregation. I say that coming from an interfaith marriage in a religion that is kind of weird about interfaith marriages, basically. I'm Jewish, and my dad was not born Jewish, and, you know, I as a result am very sensitive to these issues of, like, people of different kinds need to be separated. Yeah, maybe. On the other hand, we would forfeit many valuable resources. Mortals have been a great source of magic power and inspiration for our coven. However, cutting ties will also cut out all the shady practices and wrongdoings some witches have been pushing on mortals. And to some extent, it'll let us focus on our own affairs instead of dealing with petty disputes over humans. What do you think? What's your stance on mortal affairs? What's the new option? What else could we do about our relationship with mortals? I don't know. If you want to propose an alternative for our program, it should be something drastically different. Just some iteration on our rivals' ideas would feel uninspired or derivative. What about this? We reveal the existence of witches to mortals. Okay, that might be a little much, honestly. Whoa, coming out strong. What's your angle? Whatever decision we make regarding mortals will be morally gray since they don't know about us. Good point. What I propose here is a simple concept: truth. It'll definitely stir some chaos at the beginning, but in the end, wouldn't it be better if we develop a working relationship and making them aware of our capabilities? Let them ask directly for what they need? That is beautiful, but didn't you pay attention in school? Humanity has a troubling relationship with witches. They burned us for sport. They burned poor innocent women. What can they really do about the real deal? It's like revealing the existence of lions to a rabbit. That's a funny analogy. They can hide or reject us, but in no way will they be able to hurt us. You're underestimating mortals' drive to destroy things, but sure, that can make our program look strong. We can spin a good angle from it. I like that, actually. I was iffy at first, but I like it. Prepare to be attacked in any debates, though. Let's go with that. Reveal our existence to mortals. Roger that. Let's talk about witch duties. These are the stances of our competitors. Jasmine advocates for freedom and trust, for believing that every witch will always have the coven's best interests in mind. Dahlia wants to institute some sort of magical tax, have every witch share some of their magic output for common projects. Patrice wants to keep Adana's quarterly controls. Not doing that. What are we going to do about witch duties? I'm interested in the magical tax. It may be interesting to adopt Dahlia's idea of a magical tax. It doesn't require any specific actions to serve the coven, and it's pretty fair, since we'll be asking for a percentage of every witch's magical output, whatever form that takes. No one should be worried about failing controls. You can go about your existence however you want, provided you contribute to the coven's magical reserve. It'll also open the door for us to attempt some ambitious projects, since that much energy from so many witches will be a tremendous asset to work with. It'll drag down personal development, though. Our sisters are used to having their full magical reserves to invest in their personal enterprises. So in the end, it's a matter of putting collectivism over individualism. Having said that, freedom and trust is a nice idea, but honestly, I like this oversight. The coven's been pretty burdened for centuries now with Adana's abuse of control. I'm very surprised that I haven't gone with more of Dahlia's ideas. And I've actually used one of Jasmine's because, I think that Fortuna's original ideas are the best most of the time, so. I don't know if complete freedom is a wise option, but it is an option that our sisters will welcome with open arms. Should it fail to work for whatever reason, we could always review it in the future. Unless we discover our community is extremely proactive and they pitch in voluntarily, it's certain we'll fall behind other covens in just a few decades. But maybe it's not all about power and competition, and we can turn this into a more independent, laid-back association. In any case, my analysis is that this will weaken us in the long run, so There must be another way to make our coven stronger without abusing our members and without degrading the spirit of being a community. In all the years you've spent in this coven, what would you say is helping your A game the most? Demand, inspiration, sharing resources? Oh, I know. Mentorship. My mentor Eugenia has been a cornerstone in my development as a witch. Oh, Eugenia, she's the one who wrote those books that we've been studying from. Not the interactive fiction, but the textbooks, you could call them. I'm sorry, I took a year of German, but I don't know how an umlaut over an E would be pronounced, so sorry if I'm saying that wrong. What do you say we institute a mentorship program? That's a great idea. Right now, one of the most pressing issues within our coven is the power gap between novices and elders. It'll help to tighten the relationship between different generations of witches, too. I like it. But this idea will be way better received among novices and elders. Old witches won't be really getting anything out of this deal, so it'll be tough sell for the less charitable conservatives. A mentorship is something that requires a lot of time and work, so it'll get in the way of many of the elders' plans. You yourself will be forced to take on some apprentices. Think about what that'll mean for your lifestyle. I see. Okay. If we hadn't gone with the ministry system, which I think will take up a lot of extra time from a lot of seasoned witches who would otherwise be able to spare more of their time on mentorships, I would go with the mentorships, but since we do have the ministry system, I like the magical tax. Let's go with the magical tax. Understood. And finally, we have the issue of what to do with Adana's corpse. These are the stances of our competitors. Jasmine wants the coven to devour her corpse, that way we will all absorb her magic and become considerably more powerful. Dahlia wants to scatter her remains, give them back to the cosmos. That way more witches will be able to ascend and we will become more numerous and diverse. Cupresa wants to conserve Adana's corpse to consult with her and keep using her as a channel to talk with the gods. Now, I don't like Adana, but that one seems almost cruel, like she died because she was ready to die. She lost the will to live. So continuing to parade her around half alive seems just cruel, more than she deserves. And I don't wanna eat her. That's just creepy. Maybe we should scatter Adana's remains? I mean, power for the sake of power is a bit pointless, and allowing more women to ascend and become witches seems the more humane thing to do. And Dahlia made an incredible argument for allowing more witches to ascend by introducing us to Kaya, the Peppermancer. Like, that was enough to convince me, honestly. More people from more backgrounds. I don't see how that could go wrong. Although Patrice is probably about to tell me. You're probably right. Opening the gates to potentially double our size would definitely stir some chaos in these times of change. But who cares? There's also power in numbers. Just bear in mind that advocating for scattering Adana's remains will earn us the sympathies of the novices and discomfort for the elders, and vice versa. And I don't want to do either of the others, so let's try to come up with a new option. What if... Nah, that's too much. Spit it out, we're brainstorming here. A wild idea could lead to something interesting. What if only the leader gets to eat Adana all by herself? No, we're not eating anybody. What if you hoard Adana's power all to yourself, you're saying? Yes, become some sort of super leader. If it becomes a tradition, whoever is in charge will become more and more powerful with each generation. This is a bit in-fitting with the way I've been characterizing Fortuna. She wants some amount of power in order to come out on top and take revenge after what happened, but I don't think that it's wise to go at this stance when you're advocating, when you're campaigning. That's something you do when you already got the reins. And like no one can say no to you anymore, you know? So we're not doing this. Inheriting all the power of their predecessors. Working towards a godlike figure who can safeguard the coven from any evil? That is dangerous. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Not a lot of people will agree with this plan. But if you manage to pull it off, you'll become extremely fucking powerful. I don't want to imagine what that would imply for your powers. You will be able to rewrite reality itself if needed. I'll support you if that's what you want. Now, we're gonna scatter her remains. Alright. That's a wrap then. Let's review the program as a whole now. This program is unique enough. I believe we are offering quite an interesting option over the plans of our rivals. Are you happy with it? Would you like to change anything? Yeah, I'm happy with it. Let's move on. Great, wonderful, fantastic. Now, take a minute to look at our program. Internalize it, believe it, make it yours. Alright, ministry system. We appoint ministers. Give people warnings and then expel them. Permits for banned magic. Reveal the existence of witches to mortals. Impose a magical tax. Scatter Adana's remain. You're going to have to defend all these decisions in front of your rivals and the whole coven. But most importantly, I'm gonna need you to sell the concept of it. And for that, we're going to need a slogan. Ugh. A slogan! Finally, something fun. It's been fun all the way for me so far. You're really enjoying yourself behind that haughty pose, huh? You bet. Huh. What would you like to use as a slogan? Make our coven great again. No! No, no, no. That should be Cupresa's motto. Stronger together, a real sisterhood. Stronger together seems... I'm torn between stronger together and a real sisterhood. I mean, this would also work with Fortuna, because she's the divination witch, and that's her specialty. Makes me wonder, what was Adana's specialty? I mean, giving us her eye gave us knowledge. Maybe from the start her ability was communing with gods, because that's what she centered a lot of her governorship around. So maybe that came first and then she got chosen to be the leader. I don't know. A real sisterhood, how about that? Very loaded, I like it. Loaded how? It implies that what Adana built wasn't a real sisterhood, but it doesn't insult her directly. Yes, let's insult Adana. It's a slogan that pleads for change, and the word sisterhood is a lovable term. I can work with this, great job. Nice, thank you. We're almost done. What else? We just need to start campaigning, right? Yes, and for that we need the ultimate, most classical form of propaganda. A poster. Are we gonna get to design it? What for? It's not like there are any streets and space to plaster with my face. We'll send posters to everyone we know from inside and outside the coven. Try to have them set up in common spaces like temples or cosmic markets. That's not my style at all. That's why I'm here, to do all the nasty marketing you're too self-conscious to do. I just want all this to be over. A few weeks, a couple of months at max, and this will all be but a memory. You've done 200 years of exile. I'm sure you can endure this. Okay, I give up. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I was thinking that your new cards have a lot of style. What do you say? Want to compose the poster yourself? Yes. Do I have a choice? Not really. You're really talented. Let's just squeeze your artist juices. Ooh. We got... Okay, here's Fortuna with her cards. And we got one of these. Oh, we got those. Okay. I love the purples, obviously. I think that the dark is the best contrast with her. Alright, so I'm gonna squeeze her down a little bit, center her in there. Have a star. Let's have the lightning coming out from the cards. And how about we send this to the back? I don't know, it's a little busy. How about... yeah. We just put the stars here. And let's add another lightning bolt. How about it? That's nice, right? I'm not much of a graphic designer, but I would say that looks nice. Yeah. No skulls, no hearts. Let's emphasize her power. What do you think? I like it. It's very dynamic with so much lightning. Yes, she's reacting to my choices. Should I give it another try? No, it's good. I like it. It's powerful in a very unique way. If anything, it does a great job of capturing your essence. We should send this to a museum once the race is over. Shut up. Great. We are ready to win this race. Finally. Honestly, I'm really not cut out for this. Yes, you are. Fate provided you with a mean sister to make sure of it. Just my luck. Now, to the unavoidable question. Why don't you draw a card to make sure we win this thing? I mean, I was hoping I would draw a card, but... what if I draw a bad one, you know? That's my thought. What if we draw a bad one? But it has been on my mind. It's been on my mind this whole time. I believe you should do it. I'm sure the others will be using their own arts to get ahead of the race. It doesn't come without its risks, though. There's always a chance I'd draw a card that doesn't offer any favorable results to us. And once drawn, there's no going back. We could assure our victory, but we could also doom us and make all our efforts futile. Right. Well, you know your deck better than anyone. Our chances of winning through sheer effort are pretty decent, I'd say. But if you want to remove the anxiety from the competition by determining the outcome, I'm in. I haven't drawn a card all episode, please, I want to do it. Let's draw a card, even if it screws us over. Yes, I can't get enough of your divination. It's always so thrilling. Let's hope this thrill pays off. This reading is going to be nerve-wracking. More than reading into your sister's death? Yes. Ouch. Reading into your end was more like morbid curiosity. Whereas this card is about to seal the outcome of many weeks of effort. You're right, I'm nervous too. Oh god. So I'm thinking, in the past, I've, really tried to interpret the card, and even if it gives me multiple readings, I always try to fit the one that suits the card best, even if it gives me an option that is nicer. If the card implies to me something a little rougher, I usually choose that. But here, to make Patrice happy and really use my deck to its fullest extent, if there is a positive outcome, I will choose that one. That's my thought. Hit it. Blood pressure. The ever-boiling sea of tears grants access to the most profound emotions, in need of finding a partner, a pain that can beget isolation. Inner truths of the heart, introspection, yearning, passion, and power. That's something. Dolly will win. Unfortunately, her leadership will weaken the coven, which will ultimately dissolve. Dahlia will win. Her mandate will lead to an unprecedented peace that will extend beyond the coven. Or we will win. Our coven will become so successful that our program will be copied throughout magical communities. I mean, I'm a little torn, actually. I'm not forgetting that we sacrificed the coven. I'm not forgetting that. This would be a kind way. This would be a kind way for the coven to be sacrificed, I would say. So I'm thinking of that. But I also did say before I did this that if there was an option like this, I would choose it. To make Patrice happy. This one would also give me a lot of energies that I've been lacking. A lot of earth. But this one I feel fits the card better. Oh god, I'm really torn. I'm really torn. I know what I said, but it feels wrong to me to choose an outcome that doesn't fit the card. You know what? I'm sticking to the same pattern I've been doing. Dahlia will win. Unfortunately, her leadership will weaken the coven, which will ultimately dissolve. That's the vibes that this card gives me. Like, this is a card about wanting something that you can't have, and a lot of pain. And I think... I'm sure that the game already has... It has had something in store for me to destroy the coven since the beginning. Since I chose that to seal the fire pact. But if I can soften the blow in any way I can, this would be kinder. I think. That's my reasoning. I'm gonna do it. I'm not really invested in leading the coven myself anyway, so... Dahlia will win. Unfortunately, her leadership will weaken the coven, which will ultimately dissolve. Fortuna, why would you write that? I warned you about the risks. I can't fully control what the cards will offer, but I can control what I choose, and I chose differently. I'm sorry, Patrice. Put your deck in order then. This is utter garbage. I'm sorry. It's alright, I guess. I pushed you into it. You fucked up, huh? No, I made a deliberate choice. What now? Do we give up? We shouldn't. It's our fault the Coven's fate is moving in this direction. Now that I think about it, I did predict the fall of the Coven. That's why Adana exiled me to begin with. This is probably how it happens. Yes, please. Then we work towards building a new Coven. We do our best during the campaign so we can show all witches we offer a solid alternative for when Dahlia runs her sisterhood into the ground. Yeah, that might work. It's the least we should do. See, there's good to come out of this. Messing with fate is tough. I don't envy your talents. Tell me about it. Well, since we know the outcome already, now it's all about the theatrics. I guess so. The feeling is similar to when I got to know my own end. It removes a lot of pressure from the very act of existing. We just play our part and wait to see the fireworks. Don't you like the feeling? I can see the appeal, now it's all a game. Right. I think I need to rest for a bit now. I'm gonna go home, take a bath, get my thoughts in order. When I come back, our next mission will be to form a team and actually start doing things. Okay, I'll be here. Alright. Chapter 6, I think? Alright. That is the direction I wanted my playthrough to go in. I had to be honest with myself. I had to be honest about what the cards meant. And, like, Patrice was right. There is an upside to this. Once the Coven dies, that's not the end. Just like when Patrice died, that wasn't the end. Even though we read her death. There will be more Covens in the future. God. I feel like people are gonna be mad at me for that one, but I don't know. I had to be true to the cards. I'm sorry. I don't feel like Fortuna would make much of a leader. I mean, she would be a good leader, but I don't know if she really wants that. So, that's what Patrice wants, not her. So, okay. I will be regretting that. Anyway, I have been Mars, and I will be back with more The Cosmic Wheel of Sisterhood.